Let's talk for a little bit about your relationship to the Page Society and the vantage point that you have as president. Mm-hmm. One of the hallmarks of the Page Society is the so-called Page Principles. Can you describe for you personally how meaningful the Page Principles are and what their value is not only to the society itself but to business and public relations in general?
Yeah. I think that we are incredibly fortunate in the Page Society to have Arthur W. Page as a rallying point. We could be, named the, Senior Corporate Public Relations Officer Forum or something like that. But if we did, we wouldn't have a person who stands for a set of principles as our kind of founding anchor. And it's critically important to us as a group to be able to rally around an agreed upon set of principles that are enduring and unassailable and give us an anchor, a center, a reason for being that is meaningful.
One of the things that the society has taken upon itself to do in recent years is to help corporations improve their reputations by putting an emphasis on building trust within corporations. What other things can the Page Society do from your standpoint that could help elevate the reputation of corporations nationwide or even worldwide?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question, and we're thinking hard about that right now. In fact, the book project that you were instrumental in bringing forward, Jack, was just a wonderful contribution, not only to the Page Society, but more broadly. And under my tenure, what I've asked our senior leadership group to do is to think about how we can create programs with other C-suite organizations, possibly including the Business Roundtable or a CEO organization, but also perhaps including organizations involving HR, legal, and finance professionals around the issue of corporate trust. Because I think that this is a shared issue and a shared problem, and I think there's an opportunity for us in communications or in public relations to work with the other members of the C-suite on this issue of corporate trust.
You mentioned your experience at Aetna with the creation of the Aetna Way, which has obviously been a very effective thing for that corporation. I'm just wondering if there are other things that have occurred to you as you've seen that work effectively that the Page Society or other groups could be instrumental in, helping to establish, like, I don't know, it's training and ethics per se, or other things that would help corporations function better, and particularly American corporations be known throughout the world, not only for their innovativeness and their productivity gains, but for being just great ethical operations, people or companies that you'll want to do business with. What you're in the swim of things.
Yeah.
You know far better than I do, but what the current situation is. But are there things that you sense that could do to help American business improve its quote ethical reputation besides the things like the building trust activity? Kind of a convoluted question.
Well, again, I think that's what we're searching for, and I appreciate your reference to the Aetna Way, because I think that the Aetna Way, the J&J Credo, others like it, really are something that can distinguish corporations and make them become more trustworthy, not because they have them and they put them up on the wall and that should somehow be admired, but because if they're done correctly, they can actually change the way you operate. And if they do that and lead you to be institutions that are not only dedicated to ethics and integrity, but also dedicated to understanding the needs of and relating to the needs of public constituencies, then it's sort of who you really are as opposed to what you say that is critically important. And if a credo or a set of values can make you fundamentally operate that way, then that's how you earn trust. It's day by day, in the marketplace, in the way you conduct your business, with a compass and a set of ethics.
I want to pick up on a phrase that you used in that answer, which was, and I've heard you talk about this recently, when you said they can be effective if they are done correctly.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, it means just that they're more than just up on the wall. I think Enron had a sort of it was widely known that they had a set of ethics or corporate principles of one sort or another that weren't really a part of the fabric of the way the company operates. It has to be something that is truly embraced by senior leadership. Not only talked about by senior leadership, but lived by senior leadership. And it also has to be something that is embraced up and down the company. And if I may, let me just tell you a little bit about our experience at Aetna. When we introduced the Aetna Way, there was such a hunger for it. People wanted it so badly that without us even mounting a campaign, we did put up some graphics on the internet site that, this is what it looks like, so people were printing those out and putting them up in their cubicles. People were having posters made and putting them up in the service centers. People had mouse pads made. And it became just something that became a rallying point for us up and down the company. Jack Rowe and Ron Williams, our two senior executives, haven't given an internal speech in the last 5 years where they didn't show it on a slide and talk about it. And we've woven it into our training so that we give people training courses on what the Aetna values and the Aetna Way really means, how to incorporate the understanding of it into your daily operations so that you're actually thinking about it. And I've been really gratified to see us in the middle of very difficult business meetings, someone will make reference to it and say the problem here is we don't have a focus on the people who use our services. So we put it at the center of everything we do. And so the references to it come out in the course of doing our business. It's become part of the fabric of who we are. And it really requires that kind of dedication to it and belief in it. And I think J&J has a much longer history than we do of having had that kind of focus on it that makes it real.
You've been president of the Page Society for a while now. What do you see as the Page Society's future?
The Page Society is, and has been for some time now, a place where the leading professionals in corporate public relations can come together with a few leading people from agencies and academia to engage in ongoing learning, continuous learning environment, and networking in the context of a set of principles which we all embrace. And I think it can and should continue to be that rallying point for the appropriate practice of public relations. It also, I think, has the potential to make a broader contribution even to engendering corporate trust. And I think that's what we're looking for today, is how can we work with CEOs and other C-suite organizations to advance corporate trust by helping corporations operate more in the public interest in a way that's consistent with the Page principles.
You'll be interested to know that we're getting into the final phases of these questions, I know. But you're familiar with the work going on here at the Penn State in conjunction with the Arthur Page Center.
Yes.
How do you see these two organizations, the Page Society and the Page Center, working together in What do you think the center can do to make a big contribution towards furthering its goal of trying to improve integrity in public communications? How can these two big entities come together and do something really constructive?
Well, I'm about to attend my first Page Center board meeting, so I hope to learn more about the Page Center and what it does and how we can work cooperatively together. I think that the research that the Page Center is beginning to fund has the potential to significantly advance the knowledge in the profession of how to operate ethically and operate consistent with the public interest. And I think that what I would hate to see is for this research to not be exposed to the people who can really benefit from it, who are in the practice of public relations. And so what I would like to see is a connection between the Page Center and the Page Society, so that the academic work around ethics and PR that's being sponsored by the Page Center can be brought to the senior professionals in the Page Society who are operating today, and can become kind of a conduit for bringing that research and that learning to the fore and bring it to the attention of the people who are practicing.
What are some of the most important issues or enduring truths, if you will, that you've learned during your career?
Tell the truth, prove it with action.
Not all bad.
Keep a sense of humor.
I'll let you think about that for a while. These are just some quickies to wrap this up with. Who are some of the people who have had the greatest influence on your career or your life?
Well, I'd like to say Arthur Page, and actually, although I don't know him, I would have to say he has had an influence by virtue of the group of professionals who have come together. Secondly, I guess I would say a group of people, including yourself, who have been mentors within the Page Society and have helped me learn. I can't imagine how lonely the job I've had for the last decade or so would have been had I not had the opportunity to have this networking environment that the Page Society has provided me.
That winds up this particular session as far as questions go. I want you to know that we've been recording your thoughts on some questions here today, May the 15th, 2006, and that your answers will be used by the Page Center as they see fit. You will receive no direct remuneration for this particular effort, though from my standpoint it's been worth an awful lot to hear your observations and views, and I appreciate your taking the time to do this. I know the Page Society does, and in particular the folks here at the Page Center, who will make great use of the tape that we've made, will appreciate it for the years to come. So thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Jack.